You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,
2, 3. C'è la luna, mezzo mare, mamma mia, maritare. Well, welcome to the video. I'm here, my name, by the way, is David Kettlewell. I'm the author of Guido's Love, and I'm here with Guido Cornacchione. Is that how we say this?
Guido Cornacchione.
Go, Guido
Cornacchione.
Guido Cornacchione. Guido Cornacchione. So the one kind of like melts off your tongue. It's Cornacchione.
Kind of music.
Kind of ditty. Oh, so what are we doing with this wine? What's this all about?
Before we get started, see, all the sessions we had for the last 5 years, we started with a salute, means ginging, with Guido's homemade wine, as you call it. Dolce.
Wine master of wines.
So, before we go on, let's
toast.
Like,
this is what we do every time we work on the book. I mean, all those days reading it, writing it, researching it. It was always...
It's been fun 5 years.
Yeah.
So...
Here we go. Clink
Salute.
first. Salute.
To the book.
Let's try that again. Salute.
To the book.
Now, the standing joke is that I like sweet wines, which are not really considered big boy wines in the Italian world. He's always trying to get me to drink this vinegar, stuff, bitter wine. I like sweet, dolce.
Did I ever tell you a story about the young boy, 16 years old?
No.
He just got his first driver license, temporary. Supposed to drive with someone with you.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. He was driving by himself. He's going 80 miles an hour down the highway. The police was posted over there. He flagged him down and he rushed to the window of his car. He says, "Give me your driver license. I've been waiting for somebody like you all morning." The boy handed the driver license and said, "Sir, sorry, but I got here as fast as I could." You don't think it's funny? He was driving fast. He got here as fast. Mamma mia, you don't get it.
I think it's hilarious. No, I do. It's absolutely
I got here as fast as I could. I mean, I
killer
was
joke.
going 80 already. Do you want to hear another one?
Huh?
Do you want to hear another one?
Sure. Yeah, I really do.
This guy always wanted the Corvette, but he couldn't afford it. So now he's over 80 years old, and he had the money. He said, "I'm going to buy me a Corvette." So he buys a Corvette, and he started driving it home. He thought, "Wow, this thing is amazing." So he's driving along the highway, and he's going to 60, and then 70, and then 80. He said, "This is great." And all of a sudden, he saw a light behind him, and the sheriff...
Is every joke that you tell of a cop?
The sheriff is behind him. He thought, "Man, I can lose him." So he pushed up the accelerator. He's going 80, 90, pretty soon 100 miles an hour. So he lost the sheriff. And then he started thinking, "This is pretty stupid of me to do something like this. My age, do something like that. I better put on the side and wait for him." So he put on the side to find the sheriff, caught up with him. The sheriff goes by the window. He says, "In about 30 seconds, my shift will be over. And I would hate to have to write another ticket. If you can tell me one good reason that I never heard it before, I probably just let you go." And then he says, "Well, about 10 years ago, my wife ran away with the state patrol. When I saw that light behind me, I thought, darn it, he's bringing her back. That's why I was running away."
That's a very funny joke. I think that's a very funny joke. Yeah. It's killing me.
It's killing me.
No, it's very funny.
I think it's funny.
Very funny joke. Yes, very good joke. Yeah.
How about if we talk about the book?
Well, okay. What do you want to know?
I want to know. Actually, I want to tell you did a great job on that book. I mean, I know you were smart, but I actually think you're smarter than I thought you were back then.
We were having a conversation the other day with his wife, and I said to him, "Did you pick me to write the book because I was stupid enough to work on it for 4 years? Or was because I was smart enough?" And he goes like, his eyebrow kind of crooks up, and he goes, "Smart enough."
Hey, I'm no dummy. We're not down yet. We haven't published yet. We published it now.
Right. That's right. Well, I'm glad you liked the book. I'm glad you liked it.
It's great. there's so many more stories that we might have to write another book. I don't know.
There are more stories that didn't make it into the book that I recorded than that I did, because the first 2 years it was just a series of interviews here with a meal and the wine, this dolce wine, which I'm addicted to at this point. And so there were many, many stories, and it was one of the most difficult things as an author was to have 10, I'd pick 10 to work with, and I'd say, okay, 9 of them get thrown out, and 1 of them get kept. The notes were about this thick, solid page after page. Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of stories on my own, besides the one from the kids and stuff, that you just don't have. You have to have a book of 500
Okay,
pages.
what's your favorite chapter out of the whole book? I know my favorite chapter. What's your favorite chapter?
I know what your favorite chapter is.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Which one do you think it is?
You want to bet? You want to bet?
Yeah, all right. I'll bet you
your
$1.
dolce?
I'll bet you $1. Go ahead. No, I'll bet you a gallon of dolce wine. Okay, go ahead.
I know what your favorite chapter is.
What?
It's the God-given beauty.
You're wrong. It's Amelia and her God-given
Amelia.
beauty. That is not
Amelia.
my favorite chapter. You liar. No, that is not my favorite chapter. Just because I read it all the time to people, that's not my favorite chapter.
My favorite chapter is when he
You
said-
lost that bet.
No, I won.
Yes, you
I said
did
the
lose
God-
that
I
bet.
said the
You
God-given
lost the
beauty.
bet. That was not. You
I
did
just- I
not
just
guess
didn't say-
correctly.
I just didn't say
It's the
Amelia.
satchel. The satchel is my most
satchel.
favorite.
Do I have to hang on to your glass?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. A lot about life is just doing stuff and not complaining. Okay, this is a good
Okay,
time to
okay,
practice that. Okay,
Va bene.
again, to describe this packet, brown leather, the remembrances from his mother. In this particular case, the remembrances were, there's a stone to remind him of how hard it was not to get homesick. And dirt to remind him of the smell of his roots. And a leaf to remember that there is beauty. And of course, what does a leaf do? It falls apart. Beauty in life, it recedes too, so that's true. But there was a piece of candy to remind you that in the midst of life's sorrows that there is sweetness, and she wants you to seek and find the sweetness. So here's this chapter. This is my favorite chapter.
Is it?
Yeah. And so you lost it, and I get a gallon of wine. So he had his book, and this was book from class. He had his book in his small leather packet his mother had made for him before he left Italy. He opened the leather packet made of soft reddish leather, and touched the items she'd given him: a stone from the farm, some soil, and what had been a miniature perfume bottle of his mother's. And she had this old perfume bottle, so she fills that up with some soil. A leaf which had already started to crumble. A piece of candy, and the most important was her letter. He opened it and read again what he'd read every day since coming to America. My dearest and most beloved son Guido, you are not coming back. I know you think you are coming back, but the world is bigger for you than for us. The stone is to remind you of how hard it was here, so you don't get homesick. The dirt to remind you of the smell of your roots. A leaf to remember there is beauty here, and a piece of candy to remind you that in the midst of life's sorrows and sadness, there is sweetness. Seek and find the sweetness. Okay, so anyway, I call him up after I write this piece, and I say to him, I said, did you happen to get given something by your mother that was like this packet? And tell him what the story is then.
What I thought I might have told him sometime in the past, because it was exactly what my mom put in this packet. And I thought, how did you know? Did I tell you before? He says, no, I made this up. And it was exactly the same. So I could not believe it. Still to this day. I think probably one of my kids told me. I don't know.
I'm telling you. See, this is the problem. Something happens that's like marvelous and wondrous in life, and it's questioned. Okay?
Well, it was exactly, and I thought, how could he know this?
Well, it just so happened that the imaginary dramatic device reflected what really happened in life. And we had this happen, I'd say 4 times throughout the book, where some image came to mind. But you have to understand that I was over here a lot for 4 or 5 years, for the first 2 years, asking questions, typing stuff in the computer, going to relatives and interviewing them. Then we would gather. We ended up with this reams and reams of research information. Then I would write a chapter. Then I would come over and you would cook rabbit back in the days when I used to get rabbit. Okay?
Man.
And he stopped the rabbit recently. But anyway.
Too expensive.
Well, I don't know, but it was rabbit, you know, and all of a sudden there's no rabbit. But so anyway.
Back home we used to raise them. Over here you have to go
I know,
back.
I wrote the book about Sparky, about the Sparky that killed the rabbit. I know, yeah. But my point is that it's like that, you know, so you're sitting and you're working on this and then sometimes some marvelous story comes along. And I was really excited because it was I really liked the device. And then to find out that it was true, which was really wonderful.
Can I pay you a compliment?
Oh, sure.
I have to say that Dave has made the stories from back home. Over here you could visualize, but from back home, so visual and so like if he was there, I could not believe it. I couldn't be any more pleased than you making like the cat and all that. It's just, how did he knew all this?
Well, like making up the crates and making up the gun. I never saw the gun, never heard the gun.
Yeah.
But I knew your grandfather wouldn't give you a perfect condition.
But
gun.
anyway,
Yeah, pitting.
salute to you.
Oh.